Hi again. Yeah, right, next one. Yeah, it's Ian here, Keith, all the rest. Yeah, so I've got the 14-day referral from the GP, which she tells me over the phone. Within a few days, I get a phone call from the hospital booking office, NHS, and within the 14 days, early the following week, they booked me in to see a urologist. And the booking is at Penzance Hospital, which I'm thinking, it's the floor test again, because that's where I did it the previous time. So I arrive at the appointed date, go and sit and wait, and I'm the only one there. The nurse comes out, gets me in, does all the usual checks, urine tests, things. Sends me back out. Only takes a couple of minutes. And then the urologist comes out, middle-aged guy, calls me in and says, right, introduces himself, nice guy. And he says, right, we'll get over the hard bit first. Go in that room, lay on the, I think we're going to do a DRE. Oh, here we go again. So he's very efficient, very quick. And he says, everything okay. He says, over the first hurdle, everything feels fine, smooth, no roughness or anything. So he says, follow me into the main room and take a seat when you've got dressed. Which I do, and I keep scratching myself. Sorry about that. I keep doing this, and it must be body language. Yeah, so it gets me in, and of course by this time you've gone through, been YouTubing, Googling, and all the rest, and so you've got a pretty good idea. And of course, my main concern at that point is I can hardly pee. I'm peeing. A very, very small amount. So I'm, peeing at least every 2 hours, if not every hour, sometimes. And it pain, it's like cystitis almost, like you've got an infection. So it's burning and stinging and it only lasts for about 30 seconds, then it eases down and, you can sort of stand there and trickle. So it's uncomfortable, and when you finish, you think, I've not really emptied my bladder. So it starts explaining, going through and everything, and explaining what's what. And he says, we've got you booked in for an MRI. And he says, until we get the MRI, he says, there's not much we can do really. He says, because that will give us the best indication. And I thought, this is different. So I says, no camera or anything. No. He says, no need for that now. So, that's different. Because I've learnt since that around about 2018, NHS changed the procedures. And they found that the MRIs were very successful in identifying suspect areas of the prostate. So of course when I had it done in 2018, I was, sort of on the cusp of when the new systems were coming in, and of course I didn't have an MRI. So he says, we'll get you an MRI pretty quick, and get you checked. And then, of course, he starts discussing all the potential options from there on, if it is something, if it isn't, what they do, what they might do, And so he's sorry about that. He's very good, excellent. Explains everything, and of course, I raised a few questions about risks and whatever. But one of the things that I'd identified before I went in, with my research, and do your research, because you never know. There's things that you learn. Is a procedure called TURP, like turpentine, TURP. And this is where it gets a bit technical again. What that stands for is transurethral, which is the TU, resection, which is the R, procedure. And basically what it is, and in the early days, what they used to do was they used to go through the end of your penis, insert this probe, and it was done under general anaesthetic, general anaesthetic. So, and it was a hot wire. And what they used to do was, I think they used a flush, so that they were flushing liquid into your bladder, so it was pushing out as they were doing this. And then there was this little loop of wire on the end that I suppose they would press the trigger and it would get red hot, and then they would, a bit like a potato peeler, they would pull it down through your prostate, and it would sort of cut out a section. And of course, with it being red hot, it was bubbling and steaming, but it would cut away, and it would, what they call it, when it basically would reseal all the vessels, because it was hot, it was burning. I can't think of the term now, the medical term, but I'm sure you know. Where if you've got something that's bleeding, they'll seal it off with a red hot iron or something. You'll have seen it on all the films. So, and of course they go in, they drag it down, pull a section off and go in and drag it down. And they do this repeatedly around the sort of, the opening, the tube, from just lower than the bladder, and then out to, and effectively it just opens up a big area in your prostate, and it's called TURP. But what they do now, and I can't remember the name of it, it's high energy laser, so it's hell ray or something it's called, which is the same thing as a TURP. But what they do is that they go in with a probe again, same manner, and it's a high energy laser beam, and it cuts, and then they rotate it around as they're cutting, and it effectively it rebores your prostate, and opens it up. And all the reports that you hear, from all the people that have had it done, on, if you watch them on YouTube, it's, wow, I can pee like an 18-year-old again, masses of flow. So we discussed TURP, and he says, well, not yet. We need to get the MRI done first, and then we'll decide from there. And he says, of course, if you need to have your prostate removed, he says, there's no point in doing a TURP. If that's what the conclusions are from the MRI. So he says, MRI, first stage, he says, I need to get some flow tests done, pee in the funnel, drink plenty of water. He says, because somebody will ask me, he says, have you done a flow test? I says, well, I can tell you now, it's nowhere near what it was from what I did 5 years ago. He says, well, 5 years ago, he says, it was pretty bad then. So I says, well, it's abysmal. I says, and I'm desperate. I says, I'm almost at the point where I need a catheter. I can hardly pee. So, okay, he says, I hear what you're saying. He says, let's get this MRI done, and then we'll take it from there. So, and the flow test. So I says, great. So It says, normally after the MRI, he says if we find anything, he says we do what's called a biopsy, where if we find something, we want to go in and sample it to see exactly what it is, and again, to decide where to go. He says, so we've already got you scheduled for a biopsy. He says, but we do that because it's easier to cancel than it is to actually get an appointment. So
again, is it?
Yes, she's complaining again. So anyway, sends me home, and probably
I'm not bothering anymore.
Probably the following week, I get an appointment for the MRI. So I think I'll stop it there, and I'll sort of at the next one I'll talk over the MRI. Yeah, so I hope again, please subscribe, hit the bell, like, and comment. If you got any comments or any feedback, or please feel free.
You're on your